What's up, everybody? Today we are test driving a 2023 base model Acura Integra. The Integra, of course, is Acura's entry-level luxury sedan and a legendary name from the brand's past. The brand debuted in 1986 with the Integra and the Legend. The Integra was always sort of a fancier Honda Civic, and this one is no different. You typically get more power with the Acura. All of the new body Integras at this time have the 200 horsepower 1.5 liter turbo from the Civic SI. The Integra Type S will be debuting a little bit later on this year with the 300 and I believe 15 horsepower 2 liter turbo. So by the time you watch this, it may be available with a different engine, but this is just a base model. So it's got the 200 horsepower engine, the CVT transmission, and for the size of the vehicle, this powertrain does very well moving it along. It's also quite efficient. It's rated 30 in the city and 37 on the highway. In this base model, you pick up an extra mile per gallon on the base model, I believe thanks to the smaller wheels. This is a brand new car, so I'm not going to be flooring it or redlining the engine or anything like that out of respect for the future owner and the automobile itself. But even at light throttle openings, it's got plenty of power. I think that the base model rides slightly smoother than the A-Spec. The only sort of technical difference is the A-Spec has a wider stabilizer bar. So I do feel like this is slightly smoother than the A-Spec model. If you move up to the A-Spec Tech, you get the adaptive dampers, so you can actually adjust the shocks on those and make it smoother. I actually have a 2023 Integra A-Spec with the technology package and a manual transmission. And that is one of the features that I like a lot on that car. But I actually prefer, I think I prefer the ride on this base model to the A-Spec. It's not a massive difference, but the A-Spec to me always feels like when I put my A-Spec Tech in sport mode, it really, you can feel the ride in that one. And this one's a little bit smoother, and I'm enjoying that so far. Honda CVT does a fine job. A lot of people hate on CVTs relentlessly on the internet. I am not one of those people. I have no problem with CVTs. I will say that I prefer the 6-speed manual in this car, which is why I got it. It is more fun with a stick shift, and it somehow feels a little faster, although I don't know if it actually is. I think it's just that you're more involved in the process a little bit. The 1.5 liter engine is pretty impressive. When you drive it with the CVT, one of the big criticisms of CVTs is you're not as involved in the driving experience, and that's 100% true. When you drive it with the stick shift, you can really see how tractable it is. With a manual transmission, you can put it in 6th gear and it will accelerate from 20 miles per hour up without lugging. It won't accelerate very quickly from 20 miles per hour. The CVT is very smooth. It always keeps the car engine in the power band. But yeah, this is a great little motor. Honda, in some ways, I think Honda makes Acura, and in my mind, I sort of conflate them because on my Acura, I make my lease payments to Honda Financial Services, so there you go. Honda, Acura, in some ways, I think of them as kind of an engineering company who happens to build cars, because a lot of their engineering really is top-notch and better than what you would normally see at the price point. And this car is no real exception. I mean, you have blind spot monitoring standard on this car. You have the adaptive cruise control standard on this car. And And, you know, you can put that stuff in and that's fine. And I'm sure they've cut costs in other places. You know, there's no USB ports in the back seat. There's no air vents in the back seat. Yeah, it's based on the same chassis as a Civic and any number of other cars that they build. But that underlying chassis is so good that it's okay. Like, it's not really a demerit to the car that it's based on a Civic. Everyone's always loved the Integras. They just drive great. They always did ever since they first came out. And it's always been based on a Civic. So I don't think that really hurts the car. There's so much platform sharing these days that it's just crazy. Very secure handling on the base model Integra. This is a really nice car to drive. It surprises me that Acura went as long as they did before they brought this car back. Now what they need to do probably is redesign the TLX and name it the Legend, and then we would be in business. I really love mine. The fact that they offered it with a manual transmission, I think sales-wise, at the end of the day, when everything's all said and done, it's not going to help them quite as much as they hoped it would, because the market for stick-shift cars, new cars, is really a lot more limited than people complaining on the internet would suggest. But they did a great job racking up all kind of awards because they just gave all the car magazines A-spec techs with 6-speed manuals, and everybody loves that car who's a keen driver, myself included. But even if you get one of these base models, you know, the drive is not as involved without a stick shift, but it's still a lot of fun. You have great steering. You have a pretty comfortable ride in this one. All the dynamic stuff is there, and this is really a capable chassis. There's no question about it. Comfortable seat. I'm a tall guy, and I actually find this to be roomier than the TLX. When I first started working at an Acura dealership, I figured, oh, you know what, I'll get one of those TLXs because I like sedans. But after driving a TLX and driving an Integra, I liked the Integra better for any number of reasons. The TLX is a fine car, but I think the biggest one is that the Integra was more affordable, let's be honest, that went into it, but also I felt like it had more room for me when I was driving it. I don't really care about backseat room because not very many people ride in the car with me. And I have other vehicles that have roomier back seats, so that wasn't so much of a concern, but you really get great space. You have good cargo space with the hatchback. I don't know. There's a lot going on with the new Integra. And if you're looking for an entry-level luxury car, you should definitely check one out because they are a lot of fun and very affordable and very good value. And quick enough to cut into traffic. And if what I've been told is true, Honda dealers, at least in my area, are still marking up Civic SIs over MSRP, so this is also a lot better value than that. Missed this giant pothole that the rain opened up. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the old Integra base model. If you like the video, please smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment, and always drive safely. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.